Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rock and Roll Brunch, episode number 19. Today, we're talking about how Adele single-handedly changed all of Spotify. Also, the newest from Every Time I Die. All that, plus Chris is tired, coming up on the show.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rock and Roll Brunch podcast. My name is Josh Marcanti. I'll be your host for today's festivities. With me, as always, the two turkey boys, Mr. Dane Erbach. Dane, how are you today?
I'm fine, but I have to remind you I can't be a turkey boy because I'll die if I eat poultry.
What about, isn't there like...
It's poultry. It's any. I thought it was just chicken. I didn't realize that turkey was
anything with a beak. Anything with a beak.
I haven't eaten anything with a beak since I found out. So I don't want to die and learn the hard way.
So it could you actually could potentially have turkey.
I probably I don't know. I might have grown out of my allergy too. It's been I don't know. It's been like 20 years since I was diagnosed, so I could probably. But I don't know. I've learned to live a poultry-free life because of my food allergy.
You don't know what you're missing out on.
Yeah, I do. No, I know exactly what I'm missing out on, bud.
Mm-hmm. Turkey and gravy. The other guy, a real turkey boy, real tired turkey boy.
He's a tired turkey boy.
Mr. Chris Marcanti. Chris, welcome to the show, buddy.
Dane, you can't eat like crow. No crow.
Crow's eggs.
Crow's eggs.
Well, this one time, we had pigeon. That was a whole nother thing.
That's a rat.
That was.
It's mostly rat. To be honest.
Pigeons are like 80%.
Yeah. No.
Rats with wings.
I'd really like to try all kinds of eggs and beaks, but it's just.
Could you eat the feet?
I don't know.
Because that's a thing.
Not.
Chicken feet.
You can go to.
I don't know what part of the chicken makes me die, guys.
That's a bull
could
quote
be any
right
part.
there.
That could be the whole thing.
Could be the whole thing. Have you thought about eating chicken while holding an Epipen?
I try to. So, I don't like needles. I don't like having them in my house.
What about taking an Allegra ahead of time just to avoid anything?
I think this is beyond Allegra's powers, guys. Yeah.
Josh just discovered that he could take Allegra to avoid his own allergies.
Oh yeah.
So he's actually an Allegra pusher now.
I discovered that I have cold urticaria. Do you know what that is?
No one knows.
It sounds kind of like the dessert or like the side dish from yesterday's meal.
There are dozens of us.
Yeah, that's true.
Dozens.
Like a gastronomy restaurant.
Cold urticaria is...
I brought the cold urticaria yesterday to the Thanksgiving dinner.
How can I get you to never do that?
Cold urticaria is my body, when my body touches cold, it has a histamine reaction. So,
no.
For example,
you're allergic to the cold.
I'm allergic to the cold. When we went swimming this past summer, in it was near 70-degree water, which is not cold. My everything that touched water turned red and hivey, and I didn't know what was happening. And my whole body started to itch, and I was like, I'm dying. And then I had to go jump in the shower and warm back up, and I was like, this isn't good. And then some research showed that I have cold urticaria. And Chris, what you been listening to?
Poor Chris. Listen, Chris hasn't had a good couple nights, guys, and he's like he's as animated now as about three or four times as animated now as he was leading up to the show. So
yeah,
it's gonna happen.
It's as good as it's gonna get right there.
It's gonna happen. What have I been listening to? I don't know.
Here, let me. Go ahead.
Hot Order music song that came out. That was pretty rad. New Nathaniel Ratliff. I don't know if either you get Josh. You're a Nathaniel Ratliff fan,
big Nathaniel Ratliff. Except for his last record, I was not a big fan.
His solo record was odd, but this is more along the lines of like a full band. Yeah, this is the Night Sweats. So,
I didn't know he had a Night Sweats. So he has a Night Sweats record.
Yes.
How did I not know that?
I don't know.
Adding.
That one's not on me.
November 5th. Sweet. Added. Dane, what you been listening to?
I don't know why, but I spent like the last week listening to the Casket Lottery's most recent, which is not a new record at all. It's sort of like, it's about a year old probably. And, but if you guys haven't listened to that, it's very, very good. It's like, I don't even know, cause they were kind of lumped into like the whole emo thing, even though they were a little bit harder and I don't know, back in the day. But yeah, Short Songs for End Times is a great record. But I've also been listening to Idols a lot.
Too familiar.
Do you guys know Idols?
No. No.
They're British, and they are.
They're what? What are they?
They're British.
Oh, got it.
They're getting some feedback on the line here. What?
No, yeah, their new record Crawler is really interesting. I would recommend checking out Idols. They're loud and noisy, and their singer just sort of like, I don't know, kind of howls. But there's something, instead of just being like a noisy, like jamming on one note kind of band, which they mostly are. I don't know, they seem a little more self-aware and like they're playing around with that. I don't know how to explain it. They're really cool. Their previous album was really, really good. Their newest one seems to be experimenting a little more with different kinds of styles and dynamics. Honestly, though, I've spent the past couple days listening a lot to the live Jimmy Eat World Phoenix sessions. Yeah. Yep. So that's
what are your thoughts on that one?
Honestly, I just like.
Thanks, Jim Hankey.
Yeah. I didn't know that they had released Surviving yesterday or the day before or something like that. So I was pretty pumped up to see all three of those recordings are available now. And I like them a lot because I like those albums a lot, but they're also albums I know really well, and these live recordings are so good that it's like, well, I might as well just, listen to the
thing I like.
Yeah, to the actual album. But they're good. I'm going to get some new spins out of them for sure.
Cool.
I have to listen to Surviving again. Mm-hmm. That's a record that, like, it might be like 1 to 2 in terms of top favorite Jimmy Eat World.
Me too.
I actually totally agree with that.
Yep, me too.
There was like a bumpy road there for a minute in terms of like how I was listening to them with something light or not Chasing Light. After Chasing Light.
Chase This Light, yeah.
Chase This Light.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of literally all of their albums, but there are some that feel like they hit the niche of Jimmy Eat World a little bit better than others. And I think Surviving hits the niche pretty darn well.
It's crazy that Surviving came out and it's like, you don't, it's like that and like Bad Religion lately where like some of their newest stuff is like my favorite stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's pretty rare for bands. So good on them.
We also might just be getting to some weird threshold in our adulthood where like we used to only like the old stuff. And now bands are sticking around long enough for us to get used to the new stuff enough to only really want the new stuff. I don't know.
I think that's a big conversation.
Probably a whole episode,
that could be like a whole podcast right there. Yeah. You mentioned the Casket Lottery. The one record of theirs that I really listened to a lot was Possibilities and Maybes. Mm-hmm. I quickly pulled them up. I was like, that sounds too familiar. I listened to that record a lot.
But a while back, probably, right?
2003.
Yeah.
And I have not listened to them since, so I'll definitely check them out.
Check out the new one; it's so good.
Short Songs for End Times is the new one.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I feel like I saw them with like Make Do and Mend or something like that.
Yeah, probably. They were like
all in the same.
They were one of those bands that was around a lot, and I think like they were around a lot when we were like in high school and stuff too. Like they were like at that. I think in the early 2000s they were probably like or mid 2000s they were probably like kind of a legacy band, and they kind of took a break for a while and kind of came back with this new record.
I took your advice and listened to Couplet. Mm-hmm. Really liked it, obviously. Totally my jam, hardcore my jam. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up is there's a band called Pulling Focus. I don't know if you've checked them out. They have a record called Action Adventure that came out off of some record label, Pure Noise. So I would definitely recommend Pulling Focus Action Adventure.
Okay.
And then our drummer Brandon just kind of put Belmont on our radar.
I know Belmont.
And I was like, yeah, I know these guys. And then we were jamming it the other day, and I was like, oh, this is really good. Like, really, really good. So Belmont with the other one. So today is a Black Friday episode. We've, in the previous incarnations of the show, we always like to get together on Black Friday. And normally we meet on Sunday, but today's Friday, Black Friday. Chris.
Josh.
Any Black Friday? What you going for? What's the spice? What are you any good? What are you on the lookout for this year? Black Friday.
A dehumidifier.
Sexy.
Yeah.
That's some adult ass shit. Get a good dehumidifier, please. You need a good. You need a good one.
I want one that. Has a pump that goes into the. Yeah. It pulls the moisture out of the air.
Yeah. Get a good one.
Probably gonna go down and get some donuts from Spunky Dunkers in a little bit.
Can I say something?
I'm not crazy about them.
Really?
But
because I thought you were gonna be defensive about Spunky Dunkers.
No.
They're
The donuts at Mariano's are like 10 times better.
I couldn't agree more.
Spunky Dunkers.
This is a rare event that we're agreeing this much, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a household favorite, not a dad.
There you
favorite,
go.
So.
Okay, yeah.
Would you compare Spunky Dunkers to? Because in every way, it by all appearances, it's the same as Country Donuts.
Country Donuts.
It's the same vibe.
Donuts the same?
It's the same vibe.
No, I think Country Donuts actually are better donuts.
I agree.
I like risen donuts. I don't like cake donuts. I don't know where everybody lands on that, but I like a good risen donut. And Spunky doesn't do a good risen donut, but Country Donuts
they sure do.
good.
I was going to say, guys, I really like Country Donuts. I don't really know that
Country
go to
Donuts
a better place.
Country Donuts in Crystal Lake is great. Spunky, see, I'm a cake guy, Chris. I'm a cake donut guy.
Is that true?
That's 100% true.
Wow.
10 times out of 10.
Dorky, like
I'm a cake guy. Give me a cake donut, big thick
For
boy.
real?
Oh, big thick boy, and
They're too.
a nice sip of coffee, and
Well, now we found our disagreement because there was a moment there.
it was too much. It was too much.
We were agreeing.
I didn't like it. Dane's falling asleep. Dane,
He's out.
He's out. Any Black Friday goodness coming your way?
Not a big Black Friday guy, guys.
God,
I've never been. Like, I get antsy going out. In public.
We know this about you.
Well, like when I have to shop for something, I don't like shopping. When I don't have to shop for something, I'll go shopping. And Black Friday is just like I don't know, like I don't bask in like the people who are only there for a deal to save like $10 on a TV or something. Like I don't.
But the internet.
Not my scene. I will say on every Black Friday for, I don't know, probably half a decade now, we go to the Morton Arboretum and they just decorate all the fancy trees in the Arboretum with Christmas lights and music and stuff, and it's fun. Yep. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, you always go ahead of us. We're going.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I always see your pictures and stuff later on.
Yeah. Cool.
This is going to be out well past this being over, but Jetsum's having a sale, right? A turkey.
Yeah, and we've already had a few little orders. I just, I've been really quiet on the whole label front, and I'm like,
he's done with it.
Let's just do something. I've got some time off. Let's slap together a flyer, and I tried to make it like a really like, hey, 40% off
off the Bandcamp, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like, hey man, just go for it. Why not?
Just take it. Mm-hmm. Just take it. Yeah.
Oh man.
Chris bought Free Throw on vinyl.
I did.
20% off.
20% off. Their vinyl was $20.
So I've also pulled that trigger,
which I thought was super cheap.
Yeah, pretty good for especially nowadays.
Yeah,
I know. And then to do it 20% off, I'm like, these guys aren't going to make $1 off of this record.
I'm looking for a coat.
Anyway,
let's get into the meat of the show. That's going to bring us to our first story of the day. This one, again, brought us to us by the good folks at rollingstone.com. Adele single-handedly made Spotify change how albums are played on the streaming service. Were you guys?
Can I say an interesting fact?
Please,
here?
I love interesting facts.
I don't.
Before, not this
Wait,
record.
can I? But What do you like?
Country donuts.
Fair enough.
Pretty much it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Before, not this record, but her like debut album, with like Rolling in the Deep and all this.
That's what you lost your virginity to?
It was 1998.
This
she was 45.
It's so off the rails right now.
She was 45 when
was 45.
her record 18 came out?
No. The woman I lost my virginity.
It was that one-armed one, right? She had the one arm?
She had one good arm. That's all you need.
Sexy.
Right now.
Sexy. That's
all you need. But prior to that, Offspring's Smash was the largest selling independently released album. It was like Smash, nothing, Adele.
Wow.
That
it
was a fact.
Well,
it was a fact.
There's a theme with Adele, and we'll get into it. But she's a record smasher. Like everything that she's come out with has smashed records as it's come out.
I think that's weird. I honestly didn't know Adele has done shit since that first album of hers.
Yeah,
I don't know if she has though. I think that's the reason this record's so big is because
this is her third one, isn't it?
I think you might be right.
Yeah, this is her third one. Let's pop open Adele.
I can't tell you guys.
She's got 19, 21, 25, and 30. She hasn't done anything since 25 in 2015, so that's significant. But
guys, I gotta say though, like I couldn't tell you an Adele song other than that "Rollin' in the Deep" song when I hear it at Kohl's or something.
Hello.
Yeah,
is it me?
Wait, is that Adele? That
yes.
sounds.
No,
isn't that
no.
What's his name? Lionel Richie? No.
I could see.
Have you not heard "When We Were Young" off 25? That's a tearjerker.
Guys, I'm not here. I'm not really here for Adele. I'm sorry.
You're not here for it.
Not my.
You've heard "Set Fire to the Rain."
Oh. Yeah, I probably have. But listen, my point is just like when these songs come on and I'm at Jewel, because this is the soundtrack to shopping for eggs. You know what I'm saying? Like.
But you don't eat eggs.
That's true. My family loves them though. But
do egg particles, like airborne particles, is that a problem?
I'm good. I'm good with that. But for real,
you're not allergic.
No, I'm not. When these songs come on the radio, like when you're like waiting for the guy at the AT&T store to like update your phone, like they're just generic pop songs. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's get it. So she comes out with a record. In I think it was October. No, this month, right? Anyway. And when the record comes out, I guess notoriously for years, Spotify's default playback has been shuffle. I actually did a little bit of research and I found people complaining about that as shortly after the service came out, saying, I don't like this default setting. It's something I guess you could have changed. I'm not a Spotify user. I know you guys. I think you guys are a little bit. No. No. Yeah, we're all Apple Music boys, so it's kind of not really our area. But default was shuffle. She comes out and tweets. This was the. She said she requested that they change it so that it's the order in which it comes out. She said that this was the only request I had in our ever-changing industry. We don't create albums with so much care and thought into our track listing for no reason. And then Spotify did. They changed it just for her. And then they said in a statement on Sunday, which was a while ago, they said, as Adele mentioned, we are excited to share that we've begun rolling out a new platinum feature that has long been requested by both users and artists to make the default button on all albums, to make play the default button. For those users wishing to shuffle...
Oh, go ahead. Keep doing the quote.
No, it's great. For those users still wishing to shuffle, as always, we will continue to iterate our products and best features, blah, 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 blah.
I need some clarity. I've noticed...
That's a good record.
Yes, it sure is. I've been listening to that a lot. Would you like when you are on your phone, if you're not a premium user, like it always shuffles an album.
I think
right?
that's the case. Yeah.
But if you're a premium user, which I've never been personally,
Bean.
it still shuffles the songs for you as a default thing.
Apparently.
Well, who the fuck is like? Why do all these people? Like, why does anyone go to Spotify?
Who the fuck? Why is a fucking?
I don't know.
A guy that rarely cares.
How's he gonna fucking?
What
the fuck is he gonna have?
Like so, but
So it's got an explicit.
let's be honest. Like, why is Spotify doing it? What Spotify is intentionally doing then is saying, "Hey, listen.
Yes. Yeah.
We're going to we're going to intentionally screw up your listening experience unless you give us money." But they're saying that this is even a thing for the premium options.
You can still have it. Like if you
but
like,
it's been default all along for even premium people who are paying for this service.
I suppose so.
Yes.
Yeah. Seems. I mean, I told you I went on like Reddit back in like 2010, and people were like, "Why is this a thing?" And then people were like, "You can turn it off if you want to," and they're like, "Okay, but I don't want this." You know what I mean?
Oh, so I've talked a lot about too how I feel like Spotify and YouTube to to a major extent too, but like have playlisted the music industry so that
right.
if you
We've talked
release
about
a full
this, yeah.
album, it's just like one or two songs that people actually notice. No one will ever listen to the whole album. So you're kind of in the singles business now. I feel like that's probably a primary thing. Like the algorithm picks the most popular song to shuffle in front of a person first instead of the first song on an album, which an artist carefully curated to create, to put itself forward in front of. I don't know. Like the whole idea behind this with Spotify is kind of, I don't know, infuriating. It's really irritating.
Well, what I found it to be interesting, and if you take a step back, I think that's the only medium in which you can just shuffle it. Like you can't shuffle a book, you can't shuffle a movie, you can't shuffle a video game. Is there another medium that you could successfully digest it and shuffle it?
I think
Cards.
the argument is that it's not successfully digested.
Bye, Dane. Bye. Bye. Bye.
So much winking.
It's fun to wink.
He's gone now.
It's fun to wink.
But I think Adele's point is that you're not successfully absorbing the content because it's being shuffled. It would
I
be
agree,
like,
yeah.
It'd be like shuffling a Quentin Tarantino movie,
Yeah.
as bad as they all are.
Right.
No, I totally would agree. Like, and Josh, I know that your rhetorical question's point is sort of like,
It's
why
just
would
like,
anyone shuffle an album? Like, there's the whole point of an album is that it's linear.
But that's to your point is because Spotify doesn't give a shit about albums. They care about songs.
Well,
that's the
no,
real
let's
answer.
let's rephrase. And I know this is my bias showing, but Spotify doesn't give a shit about
huge.
art or artists. Spotify is willing to put the thing out in front that its algorithm says will make them the most money. Like so, as if whatever's the most popular song, that's probably going to be shuffled first, so that the artist might, or so that the listener might keep listening, as opposed to turn it off when there's the weird spooky intro track.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
But fair enough. Fair enough to the weird spooky intro track. But I'd also kind of be when I find every
You'll get
Friday
there.
I go through.
He'll get there.
I know.
He'll get it out.
I know. Every Friday I go through the list of releases that happened that week and to try and find new music or whatever. I'll go to the album, and in Apple Music, there's a star next to the most popular song. And I'll listen to the most popular song to see if I'll like the album. I mean, isn't that effectively what Spotify's doing?
Is that the most popular song, or is that the single?
It's usually, I think it's based on play count.
Okay,
It is.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Because it shifts.
I didn't know
it
that.
shifts. Yeah.
I also
I'm sorry to ask your question again, though. You said, is that the point of the?
Isn't that effectively the exact same thing? Like if I hit shuffle on Adele's album and it's like, here's Rolling in the Deep as number one, it's effectively the same thing as me going to the starred song to
I would argue.
I'm the algorithm at that point.
Yeah, I would argue
work.
that you get to make that choice. You know what I mean?
right, and in the
we're
context
both
where
making
you
the same choice.
right, but in the context where you aren't exploring a new artist and you know what you want to listen or who you want to listen to and what album, like this is just totally fucks up the whole experience.
Now here's my question to you guys.
Yeah. Here's
my question to you. You know, if you're a smaller creator or a smaller band or something like that, if like, yes, there's intent with album structure, but if Spotify said, "Hey, man, we're going to shuffle your songs for you. We're going to put the most popular one first," it's going to get. You're not Adele. You're not smashing Taylor Swift's record.
You're not the Offspring.
You're not the Offspring.
Who is? You know what I mean? Who is? The Offspring's barely the Offspring.
Is we've reviewed. We know this for a fact. check out episode number whatever we did.
True. They got noodles propped up in the corner.
If you want to hear a Cherry Poppin' Daddy song, go listen to Offspring. You're a smaller band. Spotify says, "Hey, man, we're going to shuffle your record for you. It's going to put you in front of more people. You might get more streams out of it. You might get more popularity out of it. Is that more important than the intent of the record that you put forward? You know what I mean? Do you care? Do you care more about actually gaining listeners and actually getting spins, or do you care more about the thing you intended?
Art versus commerce, man.
That's not how you really feel, though, is it, Chris?
What?
Do you really
always
feel like art, like in this context? Do you feel like
commerce usurps art?
Yeah. Do you like maybe it would be better for the algorithm to take over at this point, or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's a really good argument to be made that we are more of a critical consumers of music, and so that becomes more important for us to listen to. Every Time I Die, their record in the order that they put the record out, because we've all been in the position of making a decision about where songs go and how they go. I think there's something to be said about delivering the most popular song to people. It's effectively the same thing as the radio. Like, you're just going, here's this single, and I'm putting it in front of as many people as possible so that they go listen to the other thing. If there was no option whatsoever to play the album in order, and I was just Googling around, it sounds like part of the reason this is a problem is that on the UI, the biggest thing is the button that says shuffle or whatever. But really, if you just tap the first song, it'll play it all in order. But most people just hit the biggest green button.
It's that big highlighted button, yeah.
And so really, like, it's just bad
UI.
User. Yeah, exactly. But I almost think that it's more important that you go like, hey, just so you know, everybody's listening to this one song of yours or two songs of yours. And if somebody comes to the record and hits shuffle, we'll give them that song.
You know what's interesting? Because you said it's like the radio, right? Which I agree with to a degree. But again, the radio has A&R guys. It has publicist guys who are like,
Payola.
Who are like, hey, this is, there's humans deciding this is the song you should push. And what's always funny is like, then like other artists get, there's like the deep cuts that like real fans are like, you push the wrong song. You know what I mean?
And there's two for Tuesdays sometimes.
And then there's two for Tuesdays, which that's a thing. Everyone knows what that is.
You get the fries and the wings. Too.
I'm a wings and fries. You know what? I'm actually the chips, the buffalo chips. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know.
You put those in ranch?
Mm-hmm.
No beaks.
No beaks. No beaks. Hold the beaks.
Hold the beaks.
So I get. It's like this. Like we're talking about the algorithm versus human decisions.
But I think that Spotify's entire job is to do that better than everybody else.
Maybe that's true. Yeah.
And if we're agreeing that like singles are, actually I was listening to an interview with Brett Gurewitz, and he was talking about like how hard it is to be a band these days, and that the path forward for most bands that he talks about, the bands that he's signing, is that you put out one song. You don't put out an album,
right,
and you keep delivering music to your fans. And then once you have enough fans or you've gotten to a certain level, then you deliver an album, because people don't, absorb information that way anymore. And I think that's effectively what Spotify is trying to do.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. Where like Spotify, maybe they were doing the right thing all along, and they cater to the largest, some of the largest artists in the world, and it doesn't help the indie guys.
And I also think there's something to be said about separating the idea of making money from the music on Spotify versus Spotify as an agent of listening to music, because those are two fun. I think you could end up getting wrapped up in the wrong parts of it.
Right. Cool.
But
I just think there's a part of me who, like, while all that makes sense, there's a part of me that resents the fact that the listener and the artist are kind of out of control, and the thing that's in control is whether it's a person or an algorithm. They shape your listening experience for you instead of you having like autonomy over that.
Welcome to 2021.
Well, but no, I mean, but this is the
that's
same argument.
In YouTube, that's in being delivered Facebook ads. That's every piece of the internet.
This is the problem I had with the radio in 2001. Like the radio argument is a pretty interesting one here, just because I didn't listen to the radio because I could listen to any damn song I want to. Why would I listen to the radio?
Q101.
I didn't listen to Q101, not after 8th grade, because I just got sick of listening to Smash Mouth and Collective Soul. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep, I hear you.
Goo Goo Dolls.
But I think you're just identifying the fact that you're a more critical listener to music than most people on the radio listening to the radio.
But I think that's the problem for me.
I think there's a big,
because, by the way, very quickly, shut up, Josh.
All right, guys, have a great one.
We're driving now. The inmates are running the sound.
Look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain.
I don't know.
It's from Captain Phil, the movie with the pirates.
Oh my God!
Come on, you don't know that? No, you don't know the Haitian pirates. You don't know that one with Tom Hanks, America's Sweetheart.
I know what movie you're talking about, but no one's quoting
America's Sweethearts.
No one's Splash. No one's quoting
Splash 2.
No one's quoting Captain Phillips. It's called Captain
It's a
Phillips.
meme. It's a meme.
Anyway, what were you saying, Chris?
My point is to say that we've had this discussion before on how people consume music, and whether or not, like, when you look at analytics for music that we've all put out, like, there's always a song that's 20% more listens than any other song on the album.
Keep talking.
And I think that's effectively what Spotify is trying to highlight to people. And they give you the control. They just do it in a bad way.
No, I gotcha.
And so that's how people don't use it.
You know, but still, like, that part I can't help but kind of resent. That's all I guess I'm saying is it feels like, and that's probably, I mean, there are a ton of reasons why I don't want to go to Spotify. But I honestly think that its user interface, it's weird, feel like I'm not in control, like the ads everywhere. Like, all that, you just sent the damn meme, didn't you?
No.
All of that stuff to me feels a little bit like part of the problem here. But I do think before we end this half of the conversation, we should talk at least a little bit about, like, one, like, pop star's control over an entire industry that has had that anyone has had a easy time regulating or controlling.
Yeah.
You know, like, she tweeted, and they're like, "Yes, ma'am. We'll change the entire algorithm for you."
Well, what I'm saying is, what I'm getting at is, like, I think the bigger the conversation is, too. It's being celebrated. I think I don't necessarily know that it's a good thing for the little guys, the guys that, you know, we most care about.
Here's how it could be a good thing for the little guys, right? Because there's this whole movement out there that's like, yo, Spotify, musicians used to make money by selling their music, and they used to have control over their music, but even an artist or a creator who's got, you know, ownership of their own music can't make money off of it on your platform. We think you should change how much a play is worth.
Obviously.
And, you know, like, there's a whole, like, union of creators and musicians that are fighting for that, like, if all Adele had to do would say, "Hey man, make a play worth 10 cents each."
Yep.
Like if all she needed to do was tweet,
or a penny each.
dude, like anything that's not, like the 0.0042 or whatever percent, like of a penny, like I don't know, like I feel like that would make a big difference. So she might have that control.
Should we start a rock and roll brunch petition to get
change.org
a change.org to not for Spotify, for Adele, where we garner some signatures for a tweet.
Step one.
For a tweet, just, hey, this is Adele. Please tweet Spotify. Change.org. Hey, Adele, tell Spotify to pay 1 penny per play. See what happens. Should we do it?
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it.
This is a different conversation entirely. But I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay.
It's fundamentally misunderstanding.
Mine was a joke.
Oh. Well, I mean about
wasn't joking.
asking. Yeah, I don't think Dane was. I think it's fundamentally misunderstanding. It's like the cost structure. Like it's the idea that you're like, hey, I still want to pay $10 a month, but I want you to pay other people more. And you're like, okay, great.
Well, we
don't have the money. We don't have the money to do that.
That's
You're
a whole
like,
different
no.
conversation.
But the truth is that Spotify may not, like their whole price structure may not be able to pay artists what artists are due for songs. But then,
what are artists due for?
Well,
songs?
I mean, think about it, right? Like,
we've gone down a rabbit hole.
I know. This is an entirely different conversation.
Yeah. That's a totally different.
I don't know if it's totally that wrong.
I think to Dane's point, and then we'll move on. But to Dane's point, it's concerning how much control that a tweet from Adele can have.
But
this is irrelevant in terms of that. First of all, enough people have already complained about it, and they were literally like, "Hey, you already have the functionality. We just made it easier for you to use." Like this is just a PR stunt to go like, "Great, yeah, don't worry, you're in control." They're not in control. Like it's not.
I don't know. That's a PR stunt.
This is a. Huh?
I don't know that it's a PR stunt.
It certainly could be both. Let's be real. Like it's absolutely a PR stunt to make Spotify and Adele look good, right?
Yeah, but that excludes the thought that there could be a boardroom of guys going like, wait a minute. Yes, we could bend the knee to Adele, but how would that affect our bottom line? You know what I mean?
So they're already getting $10 a month from those people. It doesn't affect the bottom line at all.
Could you imagine though, if a star like Adele was like, "Yo, I don't want people to listen to it on Spotify if they don't."
That's what Taylor Swift already did, right? She pulled all her music,
right? And I'm sure that probably hurt Spotify. And Spotify's like, no, we don't want no Taylor Swift situation here. This is Adele. This is going to be the biggest record of the year. And they're like,
some fat cat.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, some of this is probably PR stuff, but some of this is probably legit control. I mean, do we know? Obviously not. We're just a bunch of like dinguses in our basement at 5 a.m, you know. But I think though. So there is this problem where Spotify has changed the way people listen to music, as we've already kind of discussed, and in a way that benefits them, but not necessarily the listener, and definitely not the artist. And if all it takes for them to make a choice to benefit the listener and the artist is for one artist to be like, "Yo, I'm going to pull the plug completely if you don't change it." Right. Like that to me seems totally relevant, and Spotify has totally changed the system so that people can't make money off of music. Like no one's gonna buy a cassette or a record if they're streaming it for free on Spotify or streaming it for $10 a month or for fractions of a penny.
Spotify's client is not an artist. Spotify's client is the person paying $10
Oh, for
a
sure.
month. So they're delivering value to their clients. They're just not delivering value to their suppliers.
Right. And at a certain point, that suppliers won't be able to supply music, or the quality of that music won't be as good. Or, I mean, like, this is going to cave in somehow. Is I guess what I'm going to say. And I feel like larger artists like Adele have, I don't want to call it responsibility, but if they have the clout and they're not looking out for other artists, it feels a little bit like, what are we doing here? And I'm not saying Adele has some obligation to sort of see how much further she can push it, but like, why not see how much further you can push it? I don't know.
Get that change.org petition going.
I was going to say, that sounds like a change.org petition.
Also, this is a great case for why you just sign up for Apple Music.
It's also worth noting that
Apple Music's just as bad. Not the user interface, but the pay structure.
It's worth noting that I nearly fundamentally disagree with everything.
Really?
All right, I'm gonna cut that off right there. Dane, you're wrong apparently.
No, I didn't say he was wrong. I just said I disagree.
Yeah, that means you think he's wrong. That's going to lead us to the record review portion of the show today. This one is going to be brought to us by Every Time I Die. They released their newest record, Radical, their first album since... Radical. Yeah, just great album name.
Wait, what label is it on? Is this
it's, Epitaph? Yeah. Okay. This is their first one since 2016, so it's been a long time coming. I know when it first came out, I like... You know what's funny is like a lot of people that I didn't think were Every Time I Die fans, just like random people that I follow on the internet were like, this record is amazing. And they were all posting it on their Instagrams and stuff like that they were jamming it. So I'm gonna start this one off today.
Give it to us, Josh.
Yeah. I am a self-described. What'd you say, Dane? What'd you say,
fine. Motherfucker? I'm feeling a little under attack by the Marcanti brothers today.
Get
yeah, sick balls, Chopper.
I'll attack you. I'm an Every Time I Die fan. To start off with, X Lives and From Parts Unknown, two records that I absolutely loved, and like specifically From Parts Unknown was kind of my entry point for the band. Low Teens, I did not like. It was not that. I listened to it a couple times and it didn't hit me in the way that the previous two did. And then this record came out and I absolutely loved it. It's kind of one of those like, you know, I think Allie was like, what do you listen to? I was like, oh, you know, this band for the podcast, and she's like, is it good? I go, if you like getting screamed at for 40 minutes, then yeah. And she's like, I don't like that. I go, then you probably won't like this.
Then you're not.
Sometimes I like getting screamed at for 40 minutes. It's like they took, I think Low Teens, in some way, like they do a lot of weird stuff. Like that's kind of what they're known for, is to kind of do some like off time stuff, some like very creative choices that are just kind of like, you know, hard to describe, but really like different. I think Low Teens kind of went too far in one direction, and I think Radical kind of brings it back more up the middle. And for my money, it's just like just like punch you in the face with just like, it's not even really like angry. Like I'm not a metal guy. I don't know. I want to talk to you guys about this too. I'm not a metal guy in the traditional sense. I would say like this is probably as hard as I go is Every Time I Die, you know, and bands that sound like Every Time I Die. But this one, you know, it's kind of got that like melodic metal, which I can just get behind every day of the week. So I'm driving down the road and I'm like angry and I'm listening to Every Time I Die and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fuck everybody up. So anyway, songs that really stood out to me, All This in War, man, there was just like this really intense song that like I feel like you really felt the intensity in their songwriting. Postmortem was another one that stood out to me. You know, but again, the first like 4 or 5 tracks in this entire record, just like bang, 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 bang. Loved this record. Loved it. I'm going to go Dane.
Yeah, I've been an Every Time I Die fan for a while too. My twin brother, when we were in college, probably 2003, 2004, like turned me on to them, and they were a bit too much for me at the time. Like when Hot Damn came out and stuff, I think was my brother's, like, that was my brother's time. And they didn't really click for me until after college. I had bought the album The Big Dirty for my brother for Christmas or something. I don't know. It must have been for Christmas. And he already had it. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just hold on to this. And then I got fired from my job. And I'm here to tell you, if you ever get fired...
I don't know if I've ever known that
I don't know either.
Oh, you didn't get... No, my first teaching job, I got let go. And...
Wow, this would have been like 2010
let go, or
something?
Well, I got let go. I didn't get... I made it sound like I got in trouble. But they basically said, hey, you're at the bottom of the totem pole, and everything in this English department has restructured, and you're out. So, and then
I feel like I remember this.
I had to go into, I had to go into like an English department meeting and like sit there and hold back tears for an hour waiting for this, like wondering what the hell I was going to do. I'm getting married in the summer and I'm not going to have a job, and anyway. And then I listened to The Big Dirty, and everything was better. Like I punched, I in my mind, I punched some faces, and I think the thing that's cool about Every Time I Die is that they're...
Why is it so violent?
Well, but that's the thing, is their music is aggressive and violent, and yet also thick with melody. Do you know what I mean? It's not just blast beats to like it's not just like feeling the emotion through rhythm. It's like highs and lows emotionally in like the melodies and the vocals and stuff like that. So anywho, I feel like this is the record that Radical's the record that, in my opinion, brought me back to feeling like The Big Dirty, which has sort of been my marker. Because I've been into like, I've jammed New Junk Aesthetic a lot. I've jammed, what was the other one I've jammed a lot?
New
Low
Junk
Teens.
Aesthetic. I forgot about that one, yeah.
Yeah, Low Teens I listen to a lot. And, like the other ones that are more recent I haven't gotten into so much. It's not that I don't like them. I haven't really given them a shot. But this one kind of popped up in front of me, and I'm like, I'm going to dig into it. Postmortem's a really good record, or a really good song. That one is the one that caught my attention just because it's got a really good, I don't want to call it a swing, but like those guitars, like dun 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 dun, like that kind of like heavy downbeat kind of feel. Just like it's a punch in the face, dude. The thing is it Keith Buckley, the singer, right? Yeah. The thing is about him is like he's got like a spectrum of screams. Some are really just like aggressive, like being stabbed kind of screams, and some of them are almost melodic kind of screams. But then he'll like back off and just be a killer singer. You know what I mean? It's not like he's got a good scream and an okay voice or vice versa. He's just kind of able to vocally cover all of his bases, and he's very elastic as a singer. So my favorite songs on the record are the ones that I feel like are somewhere between the really heavy stuff and the really melodic stuff. I really like the song Thing with Feathers, not just because it's an Emily Dickinson reference, but because it felt like they found this weird place to be that wasn't just heavy and metal. They found another way to be. I really like the song. Like, honestly, the best song, the highlight of the record is White Void. Like, go back to that song and just listen to that, and you'll want to go back to that song again because it's got a groove. It's got really heavy guitars. It breaks. It's got an amazing catchy chorus, and then it breaks. It slowly deteriorates into this heavy kind of metalish sort of, I don't want to call it a breakdown, but it does become kind of like that, and then it clicks right back into this catchy chorus again. So the thing I really like about Every Time I Die generally is the thing I really like about Radical is that they find a way to not like balance metal and melody, but to do both at once. You know what I mean? Like they're not in between. They're like they can hit both of them really well. And yeah, those are the songs on the album. This album I think has more of those songs than I think other ones. A little less of the heavy, a little more of the melody. So.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, right, they found that like balance, like the right up the middle, like really perfecting what makes them them. But Chris,
Dane, do you know that Keith Buckley wrote a book, a novel?
I think I did. I think somebody else was telling me about it too. But yeah, I would. Yeah, I'm interested in looking into that.
Yeah, I watched an interview with him, and I was like, oh, he like enjoys writing. His mom was a English teacher or a writer, and that's how he like got into the whole thing.
That's cool.
But his brother's the guitar player. I started going into the like, because the whatever of the band, especially because I think Andy Williams, the guitar player, that's like the dude with the mustache. He might be my favorite looking human being.
Yeah.
Like if there was like a list of people and they were like, all right, who are we going to go through? Like your favorite, don't worry about their personality, their favorite looking human being. I think that guy.
Hey,
aside from the fact
friend,
that apparently
hey friend, you got a nice look about you.
He left Every Time I Die to try and be an amateur wrestler for a little while. And then you go, look at him. That makes perfect sense. He looks like an amateur wrestler.
Mankind.
They called,
you know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. But he looks like an amateur wrestler called the Plumber or something. You know what I mean? Where they're like, here he goes. He's clearing toilets. Anyway, I was never really. What's funny about I never really got into Every Time I Die, but I did get into. We reviewed the album for Rock and Roll Brunch.
The Damn Things.
The Damn Things. And that's what actually got me into Keith Buckley or whatever, because like I always felt like Every Time I Die was like almost just a little too chaotic for me. Like I love metal and hardcore with a groove, and it always felt like that was absent. Like they were doing these crazy guitar riffs that never really like landed every song, and so I'd never really. But the Damn Things, they were always finding a groove and always getting back to this like cool riffs or whatever. And so this album just seemed to like come out at an appropriate time where you're like, I think I'll listen to it. Where you're like, it just landed in this sequence of things. You go, I got time. I'll listen to this whatever. And it's a fucking rad as shit album.
It's radical.
Like, and you know what's funny? I think we all have different songs that we really appreciate. I think Planet Shit might be like the number one song of the year for me, where it's just it's just like a super rad. And then I was also thinking about, I said like, why is it so violent? I don't know if it's on Planet Shit or not, or it's just he just screams "fuck off, die" over and over and over and over again. Yeah, and you're like, oh wait, that's why it's
I feel
violent.
like, you know,
He's
like
screaming "fuck off."
The
die.
first song in the album, "Dark Distance." Gosh, what are the lyrics? There's something
he
like
says slay everyone,
yeah, no,
but
save
the ones
the
I
ones
love,
that you love, slay the rest, or something like opening lines, which feels to me, I don't know, like it definitely feels like it sets the tone for the record.
The rest of the record. Yeah, I also love the aesthetic of the album, like radical, but I'm like finding myself oddly in love with like a neon pink recently. I don't know why. And so it's just like everything came together with this album. I'm not going to say anything you guys didn't, but
that is kind of their, if you go back, like, Chris, if you look at their art throughout the years, it's neon pink. That's really their color.
Yeah. Their guitar riffs are some of the coolest things.
Thank you. This is what I wanted you to hit on, like the musicianship of what's actually happening there.
They're just some of the coolest things in the world that in like songwriting, and then he ends up doing really awesome vocals over the top of these. I'm always obsessed with like people that write guitar parts and then are able to sing something unique over those guitar parts, as opposed to just following the guitar part or like following a lead line or something. And that's in spades all over this album. I also, to Keith Buckley's Scream, is like Josh and I were talking about this very briefly, and that like there's a handful of people that have a scream that is so sonically locked or
pure.
I don't want to say perfect, but it's like this guy, the guy from Under Oath, the guy from
Small Seizure.
God bless it. Still tired. I'm doesn't matter. That have a scream. It's not growly. It's not like piercy. It's like this like pocket.
They hit this spot
scream
in their throat. That's like I totally hear what you're saying. Where it's like, to me, it's. I have a hard time listening to it. And I have a hard time listening to it. It's that like in between that's so good that
it's like substantive, but not, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing I think is funny is I watched an interview with him, and somebody was like, your scream's amazing. He's like, I don't want to scream anymore. He's like, I'm getting old. Yes. Like it's hard to maintain a scream. And Dustin Kensrud said the same thing. He's like, it's hard for us to play older songs because I don't want to scream like it. When you're on tour, it just destroys your voice. And so I think I haven't listened to a lot of the older stuff, but this seems more melodic on purpose, where like he's still doing "Fuck Off Dies" and "Slay the Rest" and all of this stuff, but there's more.
There's like that old guy hardcore singer thing going on. Yeah,
for sure, for sure. But anyway, I also think this is a perfect band in terms of like a band that figured out their brand, that like they deliver what they deliver and they don't waver from that thing no matter what. And so like their music videos, their album aesthetics, their T-shirts, their band personalities. One guy's an amateur wrestler. Like it's like a band that delivers on their brand every single time. Anyway, I thought it was a really, really rad record.
Well, sounds like we're all very positive. I know that for me, like, this is going to be, I don't know, like one of my favorite things that we reviewed, period, especially for 2021, but like, period, Dane, what about you?
Yeah, this, I always hesitate to put it on a year-end list, but I was listening to this record before we decided we were going to review it, and I'll be listening to it a lot more until the end of next year, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I do want us to get a end of year rock and roll brunch show where we just kind of go, take a lap and go over the things that we've listened to, because I think there's things we've even forgotten about that, like, oh my god, we reviewed that.
Yeah, probably.
I think what we should do is I was gonna say this at the end. I think what we should do is a top pick of albums we've reviewed this year.
Let's go top 3.
No, 3's too many.
1 is impossible.
I know. That's the whole point.
We'll do 2.
That's the whole point.
We'll do 2.
Don't
meet in the middle.
Don't you tell us,
you spineless
what you're gonna
worm. I'm sorry. Listen. I'm sorry.
We're good.
Hey.
I'm sorry. It's not me.
That's me. That was me.
Well, that's going to go ahead and do it for us for the show. Let's go ahead and bring this train into the space station.
Space station.
I was just at Epcot. And we went on Spaceship Earth, and
that's true.
That was good. Speaking of trains, Dane Train, tell the good folks where they can find you and all that you do.
Jetsam-flotsam.bandcamp.com is a good place to start.
And you got the Black Friday sale going on. Anything in the works that you want to tease?
Big old thing in the works. It's
We're not talking about that.
The other thing in the works.
They're
early to rise.
Let's just say I've done cassette artwork for 3 cassettes.
Oh,
cool.
Anyway,
you personally have done it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Cool. Chris, what about you? Where can people find what you're up to?
Is it a Grave Danger cassette?
No.
Is that what you're... Oh.
That we could think about that though.
The throwbackchicago.com. All things throwbacks related.
Yeah, cool. For me and for us, you can keep it locked right here. Rock and Roll Brunch on Instagram. You can shoot us an email. We've only gotten a few. Aaron Clinton, I'm looking at you shooting out emails. rockandrollbrunch at gmail.com. You can find us on all of your podcast hosts and YouTube. You'll find this show as well as all of our others. And with that, for me, for Dane, for Chris, let me go ahead and get that check, please.